the resistance. You're listening to Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this Thursday, already the third day of May 2018 worldwide broadcast. I am your host, Alex Jones. And look at the headlines I have here in front of me. Aren't they interesting? Wired magazine. 5G smartphones cause cancer. Big Wireless doesn't want you to know. Now think about that. Because I've noticed what they attack me with on mainstream news and on the so-called comedy shows. Jones claims your cell phones are killing you. Jones claims there's chemicals in the water that are lowering your fertility and confusing your sexuality. Jones says there's black helicopters. Jones says there's a world government. Jones says the EU is unelected. It is. On and on and on. And everything we're saying is out in the open. So think about how the LA Times and even Wired Magazine will admit there are thousands of studies that prove that wireless radiation, as it's intensified in its strength the last 30 years, and in how many places it's emanating from, and especially the microwave millimeter waves. Cell phones operate as microwave transmitters and receivers, transceivers. Now, what's a microwave do? It vibrates water, vibrates molecules. And 5G is an even more powerful form of microwave that even rattles it faster. That's what causes the heat, the friction of the molecules, and burns oxygen and carbon dioxide. We're going to cover those studies. You heard me right. 5G burns the atmosphere. 5G destroys ozone. So they're telling us we're going to destroy ozone, but not telling us what really does it. And then doing it. That doesn't sound like something humans would do. Why are the globalists doing this? Why are they changing the atmosphere? Who are they? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, how do we get people out of their trance? How are we going to do that? We're going to talk about that today in the second hour and lay out mainline studies, mainline science, that 5G and even the lower 4 and 3G, your game boxes, a lot of your appliances, the smart meters, surveil and dial into everything digital in your house and steal your data. They physically listen to you audibly, and they watch you, not with the conventional iris and a camera visually, but with the millimeter waves, the same way a naked body scanner reads you at the airport. It shoots out and reads everything in your house. But you invite the little Alexas in, you invite the little Google assistants in. There's a big race, you know, the security companies. Oh, it sits there, it listens to you, it watches, it cares. And a lot of them kick on when there's burglaries or the sounds of people being upset, or they call the police for you. You know, there's certainly a good side to the double edge, but it was designed as a Trojan horse. So we're going to cover it all today. And black helicopters terrified the public in a major city of New Jersey with explosions and machine gun fire on purpose. We'll explain the story behind the story and have the powerful video coming up. And then we have so much more that we're going to be looking at here today that is absolutely critical, the latest on Kanye West, and so much more. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com. Thank you for joining us on this live Thursday, the third day of May 2018. I'm your host, Alex Jones. We've got a lot of really informative, powerful guests joining us. James O'Keefe has another big bombshell inside the bizarre state-run education programs in this country. Shocking information. Looking at organized cover-up of abuse of students at the highest levels. So we're going to be looking at that shocking video and talking to James O'Keefe. We're going to have Dr. Group in studio to break down the mainline medical science that 5G and even below is massively increasing cancer. And it's currently, it's estimated, and mainline science will go over, killing more people than cigarettes. You heard me right. And they're only upping the power. And we'll go into why they want this system. Now it's being used as a system to kill fertility. That Oprah Winfrey, Ted Turner, Bill Gates, and others, Warren Buffett, meet each year to discuss a planetary world government plan to covertly reduce world population. 6 years ago, they went ahead and admitted they do meet with that plan. In fact, you can just type that in. Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, and others meet to discuss world depopulation. You might want to read it because it's going on right now, and the 5G and the atrazine and all of it. Now, I've always noticed, what is it they don't want me to talk about? They don't want me to ever talk about Islam taking over. They don't want me to talk about atrazine and chemicals reducing fertility. And they don't want me talking about cell phone radiation causing cancer, but also causing heart problems, mental illness, you name it, in all the major studies. And now they're going to mount well beyond 5G, high-powered microwave transmitters on the bottoms of, quote, all major commercial aircraft. You see the TV ads on Fox running for this. So, quote, you'll have Wi-Fi all over the country, even in rural areas, even if you don't want it blasting down on you. And, of course, London Telegraph reports on mainline studies we'll be covering later. Mobile phone cancer warning as malignant brain tumors double. Double. Oh, it's your fun phone. You play with your friends. You put up to your head. You hold it there. And you are cooking your brain. Total fact. But you know, it's funny that the scientists even admit this is happening, because what do they make fun of me on Colbert and the HBO shows and the Showtime shows, the Homeland shows? And it was even in the news last week. They said Homeland and all the other big media outlets, Netflix, all of them go. They rotate out a week each of the year, and they meet at Langley, Virginia, at the CIA, and they learn what they're supposed to say. And they're supposed to say, Alex Jones is bad. Cell phone radiation doesn't hurt you. Vaccines never hurt you. There's no geoengineering going on, even though it's all declassified, admitted. And there's no world government, and everything's fine. And the sperm counts aren't down 87%. And depression isn't massively up in the youth. Of course, it all is. And there's, again, everything's fine. And, oh, and also, remember the old one. I remember I was first on air 23 years ago, and it would be in Soldier of Fortune, or it would be in a local newspaper that 14 black helicopters, as they were described, showed up and then attacked the old school that was scheduled for demolition the next month, setting it on fire. 3 people at the old folks' homes had heart attacks. And I was decompartmentalizing news. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but I would take some local story from South Texas, or a story that somebody mailed me from Indiana, or people would mail me VHS tapes as I was on local radio, but used that to syndicate out on a satellite. And I was on, I don't know, like 15 radio stations, even by 1996 or so, and global shortwave. And satellite, the K-band people had on their houses then, a lot of them still do. So I had an audience of people that cared, that were looking for the truth. And they were the ones that educated me. I was just a mainline libertarian, kind of conservative, knew a lot of history, but didn't get the big picture. They educated me real fast. And so I would play on the radio clips of local news about, you know, foreign troops with the army and blowing up buildings, and no one was told. And I'd play it, and they would have the state police write an article for the Austin American-Statesman saying Jones is insane, Jones is dangerous. None of this exists. And they'd put on the front page of the paper. And I would have then the San Antonio police chief on. I'd have the Austin police. I'd talk to them. I'd have the emergency manager at Kingsville on. They would detail how it was the Delta Force and how they were there with Czech Republic and German troops. And I wasn't even attacking the military, but they'd say, Jones is attacking our military and doesn't want you to trust him. And then they would do these pre-training deals where some towns they would warn them. They'd knock on doors and say, Alex Jones hates America, and he may be coming to talk to you. When he comes, don't talk to him. This is in my films, Police State 1, Police State 2. And I had the locals going, yeah, the Army colonel came by yesterday and said, don't talk to you, you're an enemy. I don't think you're an enemy. And they came, and it was scary, and I know who you are. And I heard you a year ago say this, and then they came, and they was blowing it up over there. So it became this big challenge for me, because the news nationally would say there are no black helicopters. It's not happening. And I didn't even know what was going on. Now I know it was a psyop to train the public that if martial law ever came in, when they came in to take out the local government, if ordered by Bill Clinton, who was preparing this, he was testing it, that they wanted the locals to lay down during the assault. And that's why every major town in the U.S. has had multiple Army, Air Force, Marines, you name it, invasions. Most of them unannounced. Is so that when they decide to really hit you, you don't know what hit you. And again, the military is later how I learned about this. The San Antonio police chief was in Army intelligence. The head of emergency management in Kingsville, he was in secret operations in the Army. So they knew what it was about. And the word was Bill Clinton, because they were finally told by Delta Force that they didn't like it and they apologized, in Kingsville. And then later in Austin, they went ahead and told the head of the SWAT team, and they fired the Travis County head. Once he told me, they said, look, we apologize. This is a PDD gun confiscation, martial law drill, in case state houses or any county stand up during a UN takeover. And we now know that's all real. Loretta Lynch wanted it, the Strong Cities Initiative. They wanted to cause a race war, then have the UN come in and put departments under the UN. That was in the local paper here. So I would cover all this because I had police chiefs and emergency managers telling me, and the Delta Force had told them they didn't like it, but Bill Clinton was telling them. And, man, they got pissed. I mean, they had the guys come and physically attack me, all sorts of stuff I'm not going to get into on air. But the point is that I got the message, you better shut up. But that was from Clinton goons, not the military. Now, what just hit last night? This is CBSLocal.com, New York. Department of Defense training exercise terrifies unprepared New Jersey residents. It all started off as a well-kept secret, but the explosions in helicopters ended up giving it away. Members of the U.S. Department of Defense were conducting training recently in New Jersey neighborhood, and the result was plenty of residents with frayed nerves. Dick Brennan reported for CBS. Channel 2. Other cities sue Defense Department, and then over gun check reporting. Here's another one. Cell phone video captured the moment. We'll roll some of that, guys. A helicopter flew above. There was excitement in the photographer's voice, but that's because the video was taken on the second night of action. They didn't warn them the first night. Residents say they never seen anything like it before. Now, here's the deal. Now they admit this, and it's being done now for different reasons. But it's anti-terrorism training. But the overall mission was to acclimate us. And so it was huge under Clinton. Some happened under Bush, came back under Obama. It's still continuing. And I'll get into what's behind it. But remember that didn't exist. Remember you were insane. Remember the black helicopter people and, oh, they're crazy. And, oh, they say they saw. You'd be out in the middle of Alabama and there'd be a Marine Corps checkpoint searching people. And we'd get the video and they'd go, Jones is crazy. There were no Marines searching vehicles here. And so this is all part of the acclimation. And again, another thing where you get decades of news before. Well, everyone in 2018 knows that your town, your city, has had unannounced 8 to 14 to 20 plus black helicopters. They're painted black with paint that helps absorb radar waves. Not your classic deep army green. You've all experienced the Night Stalkers out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, deliver Army personnel for training to operate in the United States. It's to acclimate them. It's to acclimate you. But just remember in the early 1990s when the activity was, I've got to say, hundreds of times what it is now. I mean, it was black helicopters hitting towns every couple days. It was a major, massive operation under Bill Clinton that started about 94. And it was to train everybody to accept Waco-type attacks on churches, on city halls, on state houses. It was usually too obvious to hit a Capitol. So they would hit courthouses. And you've seen federal judges and state judges, even in Texas, come out and say under Obama, remember a few years ago, they said if gun confiscation begins and they bring in UN troops, we're going to have to get armored personnel carriers for the sheriff's department to fight it. People thought, man, that's crazy. But the national media barely picked it up when state judges and others said that because they'd been briefed via FEMA on the plan. That was, what, 4 years ago. They had a couple big judges come out. And then a year later, Loretta Lynch goes, we're going to have the UN run local departments if there's a race war. And now we have the documents. They were trying to start one. I mean, I used to hear this from our military sources, and I thought they were messing with us. I would say sources say 20 years ago. Now the plan's public. So you can see my films free online. Police State 1, Police State 2, Police State 3, Police State 4. They all have the black helicopters, the local police, the Marine Corps checkpoints. The Army took over the role of taking over local government at hitting first. You'd think the Marines would hit first, but it was usually Army training to hit first. Marines would then come in and take control of the population and process people. I mean, it's just incredible, ladies and gentlemen. We're Americans. We deserve, help us. No, don't take our guns. Go see the video. And the national news, when this came out, CNN played clips in the mid-90s and said, Alex Jones is a liar. He hired fake Marines. They said the footage you're watching of your TV viewer is fake. Hovercraft landing. The Coronado amphibious ship landing. They claimed, I faked it. Now, that's how dumb they think you are. The atrazine isn't sterilizing you and turning mammals, amphibians, into asexual hermaphrodites. Yes, it's all admitted. Thousands of studies. 5G, totally giving you massive cancer. Brain tumors already doubled the last decade. Journal of Medicine. Just showed you the article earlier. Pesticide atrazine can turn male frogs into females. Boom. Berkeley, Science Department. UC Berkeley, Tyrone Hayes, professor of integrative biology. But it doesn't matter. Looking down his nose, Ben Shapiro, the unmade man, none of these so-called fake conservatives can ever launch a company. They've always got billionaires financing them, which isn't a bad thing, but we're the only outfit self-made. No one else in media except Matt Drudge is self-made. No one. Matt Drudge and InfoWars at this level. No one else. Matt Drudge and InfoWars. That's it. Now think about that. They say Ben Shapiro's buying the blaze. No, Texas billionaires that he's carpetbagged down here to get are trying to do it. And I think I'm going to call those billionaires and warn those guys, because I know years ago I've had a lot of people contact me and I never got back because I'm funding my own operation here. That's my mission. But if Shapiro really wants to get in my business down here in Texas, try to move down here, we already exposed Beck as a fake. He's out of business. He's pretty much closed shop. And you go read Shapiro's website, almost every comment can't stand him and hates him. Because it's this whole act of how he's intellectual and he's this genius and he's this wizard and he knows everything. And then almost every comment, I'm going to show you later, hate his guts. And say, oh, you're so intellectual, you use terms like Alex is awful. And, of course, won't debate me. And why am I mad? Because Glenn Beck got in my business with radio stations and would keep me off air. I talked to many station owners and managers where they would threaten to not be on their station and do all this stuff if I wasn't taken off. And now you're in my business again trying to tell people not to come on my show. I'm about to get in your business big time, you little arrogant son of a bitch. Now go back to California, go back to Los Angeles, where you came from. Wait till I go talk to those billionaires that are good Christian men, Seventh-day Adventist pastors, and lay out how you and Jordan Peterson, you think I'm stupid because I'm from Texas? Wait till I go explain to those self-made men that you aren't. as a self-made Texan myself, how you and others in the atheist movement are taking control of the whole conservative movement. And that's why the left puts Peterson and all you guys on TV and doesn't censor you with the whole atheist bent and the whole, Christ isn't God thing, all of that. How did you convince Texas Christians to sit there and prop up Glenn Beck and now you? You don't think I don't know everything about you, bro? And how you're trying to sucker them to buy the failed garbage Blaze? You can't make anything, you parasite. Get behind me, Satan. We should pray for Ben Shapiro to find Christ. Because this whole act of how smart he is he just sits there, reads off a teleprompter, and plagiarizes people, in my view. So, you're in my business, Shapiro. I'm in your business now. I might just go drive up to Cisco this weekend, take a few Army officers with me, and have a conversation with the billionaires that are financing you. Maybe show them some files, Shapiro. Want that? Think you do. I think I'll do it. I think I'll get in your business. You know what happens when I get in people's businesses, boy? They ain't in business long, son. You like what I did to your daddy, Beck? He really did it to himself, didn't he? But we told everybody what he was. So you want to be in a man's world, son? I took on Hillary Clinton with my audience, and we kicked her butt. She's coming after me right now. I'm in a man's world, son. I'm self-made. You couldn't do a damn thing. He couldn't come up with $1. Everything he's ever had was financed, just like Beck. I was offered Beck's job when they had him in the stable, getting him trained 16, 17 years ago. And just like then, they sent him in to be a fake Mormon to suck off the Mormon church to launch his whole operation. And that's what Shapiro does. He comes down here with his whole little closeted atheist anti-Christian operation, and he sucks off some Christians he thinks are dumbasses. Well, son, you want to fight? You got one. I love how you talk to Kanye West like he's a dog. No, no, no. You don't go on that show. No, no, no. Boy, you just filled your hand against the wrong group of people, son. Get your ass out of here. So, over the years, I've had a lot of Texas oil people contact me and want to try to help InfoWars. And I've never done it because I want to self-fund their operation. And I have that as an ace in the hole. A lot of people that I can go to if I needed a lot of money. That's why the whole Soros-Hillary plan, where they're in the news, on NBC News, saying they plan to shut me down. They admit the Democratic Party's behind it. That's why we don't want to go down that route, but we're going to win one way or another. With our listeners supporting us, with us putting it all into the fight, expanding onto TV stations across the country, the broadcast is exploding. And I'm going to get into all the other big world news. But the reason I'm attacking Ben Shapiro is he wasn't ripe enough when I heard about him years ago from one of the top talk show hosts in the country. And just look out for this guy. He's as bad as it gets. I just heard from that national talk show host during the break. We're talking one of the top 3 names. And I was warned about him, and I just ignore it because I try to be a team player. And then I noticed Shapiro behind the scenes causing us problems, and then also reaching out to people in a whisper campaign saying don't be associated with InfoWars, just like CNN and MSNBC and George Soros and all them are doing. And I just ignore it and move on because the guy just comes off so arrogant. And then, he has his own website that talks about what a genius he is all day, and his own readers are just sick of it. Another snot-nosed, arrogant know-it-all. But then I also realized that he was trying to get some really nice self-made Christian men who created their own oil company and have become, multi-billionaires individually. And one of the brothers owns the Daily Wire. And then Shapiro runs around and talks about, how he's this big business titan. And Shapiro couldn't tie his own shoelaces. So, and I know about all this stuff because I live here in Texas, okay? And I'm just going to leave it at that. But my family's all over the state, and they know a lot of people. And they're in a lot of different businesses. And so I start to see Shapiro openly saying to Candace Owens, don't come on his show, and Kanye West, and trying to police me. And I realized it was ripe to go after him because here's why he's important. He's the next Glenn Beck. He's the next Judas Goat. he's the next guy to control the Christian conservative movement. Just like Glenn Beck went and married a Mormon to get the Mormon money, to have the Mormon cred. 2 years before he married that lady, he was a shock jock, praising abortion, calling up other talk show hosts, saying, I heard your wife had a miscarriage, thank God. I mean, he was a horrible demon. He worked in more than 20 markets. I know people that know Beck very well. You give him the wrong pen, he screams and yells at you and fires you. He's just a monstrous, very neurotic person. And he believes he's like a messiah. He's also got a lot of foreign money and funding coming in. So he bet on the wrong horse. I like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz has a good voting record. But the whole Texas act and the cowboy boots and, you know, the holier than thou stuff, that's an act too. I'm not going to judge his heart. I'm a real Christian, but I don't tell you I'm perfect. I don't sit up here and tell you how good I pray on Sunday and put on the whole good Christian act thing, okay? I'm ready to die for Christ. But I'm definitely a sinner. So these guys are waltzing into Texas again, just like Beck did. And they're waltzing in here to get all the Texas oil money to back them. And that gets passed through their companies. And then the companies fold. And so that's what's happening. And if you go back to Shapiro and where he comes from and the people he worked for previously, and this particular national talk show host who just might decide to go public or might decide to actually talk to Ferris Wilks and his brother, who are good men. I know people that know him. Talk about really upright, hard-working, self-made men off their masonry company their daddy started. And they didn't get into oil until like 15 years ago. They've been very successful with hard work and diligence. They just want to help the country. So they're going around trying to finance every libertarian conservative thing they can. And then in comes Shapiro, the anointed one that Fox News and the whole system's pushing. And then he's in my business just like Glenn Beck was. I told Glenn Beck 5 years ago on air. I said, leave me alone and I will leave you alone. And for a couple years he did it. And then I learned he was behind the scenes doing it again, so I went after him again. And it's not hard to go after these people because they already can't help but sabotage the Christian libertarian movement. They're Judas goats. They're operatives. And that's what they do. They try to act like they're credible, get control of the movement, and then steer it into the ground. And they try to make sure the big funds out there go into what they're doing. And then they bring on Jordan Peterson, who I've been looking at and studying, out of nowhere, doesn't believe in God, but he'll tell you how to wake up, and suddenly the Atlantic and the New York Times likes him, and he doesn't get censored, and they're all together, and they're going to have a show, and they're going to come and merge with Glenn Beck. And how Christian is that to have Jordan Peterson, the atheist, that the liberals love, that Bill Maher loves, who explains to us that there are only two genders, and we all go, oh, they let him on here say that. This is so original. And he gives us some Carl Jung passages, which is fine. And he's a witty guy. I think does some good. But look at this is going to be the conservative movement. This is the new leaders of it. None of them are Christians. There's somebody else who isn't a Christian, but he prays the same God, the Old Testament. And he would really like to tell you about Shapiro. Maybe he'll come on. Maybe it's time for that. There's another really big talk show host who's, you could say, of the same tribe as Mr. Shapiro and is a patriot. And he'd like to tell you about Mr. Shapiro. Because Shapiro's an atheist as well. They're not Jews, they're not Christians, they're none of it. They're establishment individuals, in my view. And they are now anointed as, oh, they're underground, and now they're all over the system, force-fed to you. But just look at what Shapiro's own people said. Document cam shot, please. Ben Shapiro gets an epic Twitter feud with Alex Jones over Kanye West and Candace Owens, and it says he destroys Jones with his incredible genius, and it's so stunning. Using the most sophisticated systems ever seen on Earth, Shapiro annihilates Jones. Then you actually read what the commenters say. Jones is supposedly the one unleashing hysterical ad hominems, with Shapiro having sharp, rational rebuttals. In this exchange, is he just be supremely foolish to do so because you are a kook? Well, that sounds like a 5-year-old wrote it. That's what Shapiro said. backed up by supremely. Ooh, you supremely. I mean, you're supremely. He goes, it would be supremely bad to go on Cook Show. You go on Cook Show. Welcome to McDonald's. I am Ben Shapiro. May I help you? I am the big intellect. You are Cook. You are Cook. Okay, well, that was the rational rebuttal, or was it the dude, they shouldn't come on your show because you are awful? You didn't come on the show because they're awful. I am Ben Shapiro. I'm so smart. Or was it the topless photo? It's hard to argue with the sharp, rational arguments like those. He's quoting Shapiro, writing in third party about what a genius he is. Shapiro, the devastating person with a 5,000 IQ, who personally severed Hitler's head and is actually an immortal god, the ultimate intellectual, the king of earth. He will show us Christians in Texas how to do things. With Jordan Peterson, who explains to us that we're all just animals programmed, and he's got a book telling us how to live like robots. Oh, I'm just shaking in the intellect. And in almost every comment, and I started looking at other things on his site, they all hate him. It's just like Glenn Beck. They go, the anointed one is here. Here is your God. Worship him. And then he endorses Obama and Hillary. It must have been Shapiro's refusal to even debate Jones. Nothing screams sharp rationalism like refusing to debate, especially when one's debating skills are routinely highly touted. We need to get a certain national talk show host on the phone with the backers of Shapiro. I really think these fine Texans should be able to know what they're financing, what they're behind, and what they're doing. Because I know Shapiro probably thinks they're a bunch of self-made country bumpkins. Let me swoop in there and teach them. Alex Jones here, back live. Now, I'm going to get into the most important issue, period. That's human life on this planet, fertility on this planet, massive increases in cancer, and how to stop it, and how to organize. I've decided I'm going to start printing up pamphlets with mainstream news, articles, and studies, and walking up and saying, here's the Journal of Medicine, here's the London Telegraph, here's the Associated Press, here is the Wall Street Journal, and here is Wired Magazine admitting 5G massively increases cancer, when the last decade of just regular 4 and 3G has doubled brain tumors in every Western country. Doubled. A 100% increase. We're going to stop this. We're going to get this reined in. And we're going to talk about the atrazine and it confusing the sexualization and sexual development of men and women, accelerating cancer in women and men, highly feminizing women, and feminizing men. I know Ben Shapiro doesn't want us to talk about it. And again, Jordan Peterson, he gets up on Bill Maher. We have that clip? And says, I am not a conservative. And then he says there are two genders. The left's gotten out of control. And we go, oh, you're our God. You told us what we already all knew, and that's fine. Except they're all linked up, I know now, behind the scenes to go take over Glenn Beck's destroyed operation. He destroyed himself. And then it's back to Glenn Beck part 2 with Shapiro behind the scenes like he used to do over at Talk Radio Network. I know all of it, moron. The stuff he used to pull there. You are not pulling that with me. I am not to be pushed around. I can't help it. I'm coming after you. That's it. I'm in total war mode. I'm coming after Soros. I'm coming after Hillary. People say, oh, why are you still attacking Hillary? Because she's coming after me. You want to fight? All of you got one to the end. I love it. That said, you just think all us conservatives, libertarians, and Christians are a bunch of dumbasses because we're not snakes like you. You can just waltz in here and take control of our movements. You can't. If you're real like Matt Drudge or real like Michael Savage or real like Donald Trump, people will love you. The people know fake when they see it. And you're fake. And you plan to move down here again right next door to me? Leave me alone. Get out of my business. Get out of my radio stations. Get out of my, who comes on my show. You got the whole CNN, Fox pushing you, force-feeding you to the geriatric audience. God bless them. We've got the young audience, jackass. We're trying to wake them up. Get out of our way. If you keep doing that Cheshire Cat psycho smile, you're going to find out. I'm in your business. You got in mind, buddy. You threw the first punch. You're going to get it now. I put up with years of crap from this guy. And you can attack me and lie about me all day, but you don't get involved in my operations. You understand that, you skunk? I know the counterfeit's always got to get rid of the real McCoy. You're not getting rid of me, son. People a lot smarter and a lot tougher have tried. As long as God wants me here, I'm going to be here. But I got this thing. I love people from all over the country. But the fake Californians, who aren't even really Californians, coming here, trying to run my life, trying to run me out of Austin, trying to run me out of my own state, it's not happening. So, he is Glenn Beck. When you think Ben Shapiro, remember, he was a never-Trumper. And he thinks he's going to run your life with Jordan Peterson and the rest of these people. I mean, what is it with Canadians? I love Canadians. They're the nicest people, but we got Peterson is here to run America. We got the other Canadian, Ted Cruz. And I'm sorry, man. A pair of cowboy boots doesn't make you a Texan. And listen, I don't care if you're not a Texan. Just don't put on a fake Texas accent and walk around with your hands in your pockets like you're a banty rooster like Ted Cruz does. And he runs every time he sees us. We had like the first Ted Cruz interview when he announced for Senate. And we supported him. And he has an overall good voting record. He was good exposing how we were funding ISIS in Syria. He did the right thing. I like Ted Cruz. But he linked up with Glenn Beck. And he linked up with and they got all these other Texans to just shell out money. See, I have my audience supporting us. We're the only operation other than Matt Drudge that is self-funded by you, the listeners. But now I realize if I didn't take the money that other Texas billionaires offered me over the years, what do you want, Alex? 10 million, 50 million? And I'm like, well, we're just growing here. We try to want to fund ourselves. You know, I don't want to know. It's not even a pride thing. I love the fact that we're self-funded, self-made, like Shapiro's funders. But it's always some person that isn't self-made who's being financed by somebody that is self-made. And it's just like Mike Adams said to me off air the other day. He said, those of us that are self-made should only work with other self-made people. Because there's something wrong with the people that aren't self-made. They always want to hijack. They want to take over what somebody else has got because they don't have it. They don't have it. Ben Shapiro doesn't have it. Like a Michael Savage has it. Michael Savage, his whole family, everything they touch just turns to gold. Totally self-made. #1 best-selling health author ever since the 60s. Supplements, top names everywhere. You don't even know they own it. Real estate, everything. Just solid gold from his dad's hardware shop. I know Savage is listening right now. We chimed in earlier. My dad didn't finance me 1 cent. Self-made. And then you always got the geniuses telling us how to run our lives and academics and everybody going to tell me how to run my life. Stop telling me how to run my life. And if you want to try to sell your rich benefactors, your sugar daddies, on buying the Blaze, I think it's a bad buy. I was offered to buy his satellite contract, his channel 3 years ago. And then they reached out through one of the brokers and said, do you want the Blaze? Do I want leprosy? Do I want to be castrated? Do I want to hang a millstone around my neck? Don't want to get in bed with fleas? No, 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 no. But the headlines, Ben Shapiro to buy the Blaze. Wow, that young man's rich. How's he doing? Wow, look, private jets. Hey, yeah, on other people's money. From their daddy raising them 7 kids in a goat shack. And now you slide in all slick to the West Texas folks and you tell them how it all going to be down there. Why, I bet you even wear some spurs when you come to town, don't you there, Mr. Shapiro? On a fast talk us all, teach us all how the world does work, don't you? That's good. How about you get on your little horsey there and ride your ass back out of town, son? Because you're going to burn down just like Beck, because you're going to destroy yourself. So let it be written, so let it be done. Now, let's continue. My benefactors are you And I bring you the best water filter on record. The best air filters at the best prices. Look them up. I bring you the very best supplements. I bring you the very best T-shirts and all of it. That's how we fund ourselves. And I want to thank folks that donate and the letters we get from that particular gentleman. Doesn't want to be recognized in Switzerland. Nice check came in the mail. A nice cashier's check that will go 100%. It was deposited right in to the accounts at the business to fight the globalist. You can donate, but the best way to do it is just buy the products. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And we're here. We're going down. We're Americans. We're going to win. If we fall like the Alamo, it'll just be an example to all for the big victory to come. But I have a suspicion we're going to be here in a long time. We have DNA Force Plus back in stock. It's now stronger, even more concentrated, and less price because I made a bigger buy on it. And it is at least at regular price half of what leading competitors sold in medical clinics are. They don't sell this stuff in stores because nobody's going to buy something that costs $300. That's with all their markup they put in it. Well, normally 120-something, now $74.95. And there's, what is it, like 40-something, 50-something bucks of stuff, product in that bottle. And then there's the marketing and everything else. Nobody sells products like this with a 50, 60% markup. That's what it is right now. 50% off DNA Force Plus. Go read all the stuff it does. You know, with time constraints, I can't even get into all of it. I had a folder here that had it all, and I've kind of gone crazy here on air. But it's just learn about the telomeres, learn about nerve regrowth, learn about all of it at InfoWarsLife.com. or 888-253-3139. Again, also, we're going to have to end the X2 special. I said yesterday, but groups in to talk about it some today, so we're going to keep it one more day at 25% off. That's the purest form of deep earth iodine out there. Also, 50% off on Super Male Vitality, and you can get it with the Real Red Pill or Alpha Power separately, 50% off, or together, and get free shipping. The ultimate game changer, Super Male Vitality, and a bunch of other products that are excellent, 50% off. Or you can simply call toll-free 888-253-3139. There's nobody else that's self-funded but Matt Drudge and InfoWars. So when you're at drudgereport.com, be sure to click on his sponsors. The point is, remember that. Americana, self-made, hardcore, Texan, uncompromising, and victorious. Steering you right, shooting you straight. We need your support.